You probably don't remember the first time you were taught tribalism because it wasn't in a classroom. It was probably in a joke your uncle made, or in the way your mom tensed up when she heard your new friend's name, or in the stories your dad told you about how those people cannot be trusted. No one really sat you down to explain it, but somehow we learned it. You learned who we are and who they are, and now it's everywhere. It's in how we vote. It's in who gets hired and who gets blamed when things go wrong. So how did we get here? Was it always like this? Or did someone somewhere set us up this way? Before the British arrived, we had over 40 ethnic communities. We had boundaries. We fought, traded, intermarried. But tribe wasn't an identity you weaponized. It was language, tradition, family. A Kalenjin could marry a Kikuyu. A Luo could do business with a Kamba. There was no such thing as a Kikuyu vote, a Luo vote, or a Luya job. We were diverse, but not divided. At least not in the way we are today. Then came the British in the late 1800s. They found a land full of diverse communities. Instead of uniting them, they divided them so that they can make their ruling easier. They created tribal reserves. Kikuyus were pushed into Central, Luos were pushed into Nyanza, Luyas were pushed into Western, coastal communities to the coast. You were supposed to stay in your zone. Then they gave the tribes roles. Kikuyus were educated to become clerks and business people. Luos became teachers and health workers. Luyas were hired into the police and army. Kambas became messengers and carriers. They pushed stereotypes. Kikuyus love money, Luos love fame, Luyas love food. These things were planted during that time. Then they introduced the Kipande system in 1915. A small ID booklet worn around your neck. It recorded your tribe, your employer, and your movements. You cannot move around without it. Your tribe became like your official label. In 1924, they created native authorities and appointed tribal chiefs. Not elected by the people, but picked to help the colonialists control the locals. These chiefs enforced taxes, grabbed land, and punished their own people. By the 1930s, even schools and churches were tribalized. You went to a Kikuyu school or a Luo mission or a Luya church. Everything about your life was tied to your tribe. In 1963, we got independence, but the leaders who took over used the same system the British had left. Two main political groups emerged. KANU, which was led by Jomo Kenyatta and constituted mainly of Kikuyus and Luos. And then there was KADU, which was led by Moi, who is Kalenjin, Ronald Ngala, who is Coastal, and Masinde Muliru, who is Luya. It was mainly supported by minority tribes who feared domination. KANU wanted a central government, while KADU wanted a federalism, what we called Majimbo, each region having its own government. KANU won, and KADU was forced to dissolve. After that, tribal favorism kicked in. Government jobs, resources, development, everything flowed into the Kikuyu heartland. In 1969, Tomboya, a brilliant Luo leader and Kenyatta's ally, was shot dead in Nairobi. People believed it was political. This man mentored very many young leaders and had a lot of appeal. Luo anger exploded. In Kisumu, Kenyatta's convoy was heckled. Police opened fire, civilians died. From then, the Kikuyu-Luo alliance ended. Kenya began breaking into tribal political blocs. When Kenyatta died in 1978, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi took over. At first, many Kikuyu elites were not happy. They called Moi a passing cloud, but he ended up staying for 24 years. That cloud was really not gonna pass, huh? In his early years, Moi ruled by making sure no tribe got too powerful. He gave cabinet posts to every major tribe, but not to build unity, only to keep them divided and loyal to him. He was playing chess. In 1982, a failed coup led by Hezekiah Ochuka, a Luo, shook Moi. He responded by cracking down on the Luo community and removing most of them from public service. He then replaced them with people loyal to him, especially from his Kalenjin community. During this time, Rift Valley gained a lot of power. By the early 1990s, tribalism was deep-rooted. Then came the 1992 and 1997 elections. Multi-party politics returned. Clashes followed. In 1992, we had tribal violence in Molo, Burnt Forest, and parts of Rift Valley. Over 1,500 people were killed and over 300,000 were displaced. These clashes, they did not just happen, but the Akiwumi report in 1999 said politicians incited them to scare people and protect their voting blocks. 2007 was a turning point. Mwai Kibaki, Kikuyu, ran for re-election under PNU. Raila Odinga, Luo, challenged him under ODM. ODM had wide ethnic support. Luos, Luyas, Kalenjins, and parts of the coast. PNU had Kikuyus, Merus, and Embus. The Electoral Commission announced that Kibaki had won, but observers said that the tallying process had issues. It looked rigged. What was already boiling exploded. Violence erupted in Nairobi, Eldoret, Naivasha, and Nakuru. Over 1,100 people were killed. Around 600,000 people displaced. People were pulled out of their homes, buses, and streets because of their tribe. Names and accents became kind of like a death sentence. Churches were burned, people were locked inside and set on fire. It did not start that day. This had been building up for years. A feeling of unfairness. Some tribes felt like they never ate. Land injustices from the colonial and post-colonial eras, corruption and ethnic favorism in the government. In Kibaki's government, 2002 to 2007, about 40% of senior public positions were held by Kikuyus, even though they make up around 22% of the population. This fueled feelings of exclusion. ODM had promised to devolve power and share resources better. Many believed in that hope. When the results were disputed, it felt like their dream had been stolen. Peace only returned after a deal brokered by Kofi Annan. Kibaki remained president and Raila Odinga became prime minister. But the cost was huge. Trust was broken and the trauma remained. In 2013, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto came together. It was unexpected. Just 5 years earlier, their communities had fought during the post-election violence. Now they were allies. They formed the Jubilee Alliance, saying Kenya needed unity and healing. But many saw it for what it was, a political deal. And it was meant to do just two things: unite two big voting blocks and avoid ICC prosecution. It worked. They won in 2013 and again in 2017. But tribalism didn't end. In both governments, most top jobs went to Kikuyus and Kalenjins. State contracts and tenders followed a similar pattern. In 2015, NCAC data showed 29% of senior public servants were Kikuyus, 11% Kalenjin. Others like Luo, Luya, Kamba were much lower. Opposition parties like NASA in 2017 again brought together the rest: Luos, Luyas, Kambas, and Coastals. It looked like the same tribal pattern repeating. In 2018, Uhuru and Raila shocked the nation with a handshake. Many were hopeful that it would cool tribal tensions. But others felt that Ruto was sidelined. Today, tribalism hasn't ended. It just learned new tricks. Politicians still pick running mates by tribes. Jobs in ministries are shared along tribal lines. Public service is often filled with people from the president's tribe. We still say Nimtuetu before Nimtumzuri. Even our insults online follow tribal lines. So how did tribalism become our default setting? Maybe it wasn't born in us. Maybe it was taught, repeated, and reinforced. And eventually, we started believing it. The British may have built the system, but we've kept it alive. But if it was taught, then maybe it can be unlearned. We're not tribes. We're people. And people can choose who they become.